Well, we have certainly returned to the world of Inuyasha, and by returning, we're actually going to watch not a regular episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching a motion picture,
A film.
a featured film, because that apparently is a thing you can do.
Yeah, you can.
You sure can.
We sure did.
We sure did. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Jared Now Watch Inuyasha. It is episode 55?
55.
55. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello, hello.
And we are watching Inuyasha the movie. Affections touching across time.
Ba-ba-bum.
And yeah, so this basically takes place supposedly between the last episode we just watched and the next episode we would be watching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a perfect place to throw this in.
Yeah, and like all of the like watch order things, it says to watch this film next.
Mm-hmm. It is basically like a lot of shonen anime movies where like it's not necessarily the most canon thing,
Right.
but it is something they made to make money.
Correct.
That is true.
Yep.
You mentioned to me that you had not watched a lot of these films since you'd watched them the first time. Like you said, like you watched the series multiple times, but like you didn't go back and watch like the movies
No,
the same amount of times.
I've watched the series multiple times. I've only watched the movies a single time each.
Yeah.
I guess this one I've watched now twice.
Were you like a fan of these movies when you watched them the first time, or were you just like, I just want more content in this series, and that's why I'm watching these?
That.
Okay. And now that you've watched this one a second time,
Yep.
how has your opinion, do you think, changed since then?
I mean, it's as we talked about off recording. Um, this is like three filler episodes. This is a filler arc just
Mhm.
thrown into a film,
Yeah.
and like some filler can be nice.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's some filler arcs in Inuyasha that I think are really, really well done.
But then
Um,
you also have, on the other hand, there's just filler arcs that are not good and are just there for the sake of literally just being filler.
and I think that's what this is.
Yeah. Like, you could probably definitely see if, like, they had an idea for this and were like, oh, we should do this, but then they just ripped it out of the TV series and like, let's just make a movie out of this.
Yep.
So that's kind of where this is. It definitely is a thing of like, there's no stakes in this at all.
Done.
Because you realize that like they have to introduce this big bad to make it like remotely interesting, but like it's not going to be anything detrimental or anything because like it's not going to show up in the rest of the series at all.
Right.
And like I think we talked about this at the very beginning of like, oh well, there's no way this big bad would be even remotely worthwhile because like Naraku's still around and he probably wouldn't want some other dude encroaching on his territory of wanting to get all the Shikon shards and do all that stuff and kill Inuyasha and do all that.
And the Shikon Jewel's not even this guy's goal at all.
No, he just has it. It's like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, like his goal is not to collect them. He just is like, all right,
I want power.
I want power, and I want to kill Inuyasha, because his dad killed my dad, and that's real not cool.
Yeah, again, I feel like we've already seen this. We literally just seen this a couple of episodes ago as an arc.
Yep.
In the show. So like this isn't even like a new thing. It's just retreading things we literally just saw.
Like, wow, Inuyasha's dad was powerful. Imagine that. Oh no, Inuyasha, you're not powerful enough for this. What are you doing? Never mind, you are powerful enough for this because you defeated him.
And this isn't like any like the other arcs where like, oh, Inuyasha has to learn like a new power or something to fight this thing. He just does his normal stuff.
Right.
Nothing real new here.
Yeah, I think this is like the first time outside the series that we see, which obviously outside the series, but like he really does the backlash wave.
Yeah, which he had just learned in the series, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been too that like outside the norm or anything. But yeah, like this is It sure is a film.
It sure is a film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the art is noticeably worse.
It is very different. You can definitely tell this is a different team that worked on this, most notably because like Inuyasha was a long-standing series that was
Yep.
continuously going, and they couldn't necessarily pull those people off of that to work on this because they're working at the exact same time. So they would have just gotten a different team to work on this. So a lot of the character designs, or like the character faces and like the way they animate, all look a little bit different than what you would normally expect from the TV series, which is a little bit weird considering you usually go to like the like films to see like better animation and all that sort of stuff, and you really
Right.
don't get that here.
No, you don't. Like the series looks way more like lovely.
Lovely.
I don't know where I was going with that sentence. It's just a prettier series than the movie was.
Yeah.
Everything's too angular in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why everybody's so angular.
Gotta love those angles.
Do I?
Apparently. So yeah, this is indeed a film. This film came out on December 15th, 2001 in Japan. It was released on September 7th, 2004 in the United States.
Wow, so
I
we're coming up on like 20 years almost since I probably watched this.
Yeah, basically. I
Wow.
don't know if that was like this is like the US release was like when they put it on TV, or if they released it on home video first. This does not go into that, but it would have had to been one or the two considering just how, they released anime at the time.
I mean, I would tell you how I watched it, but I can't say it.
Illegally.
No, no, we're not saying that on the recording. I am a very legal person who's never done anything illegal in my life.
You just got onto your pirate ship and sailed the seas.
Yes, I
You watched
obtained.
it in 30 parts on YouTube.
I was YouTube even a thing then? I don't think YouTube
No,
existed
but like
then.
that's how like a lot of people watch anime is like it's cut up
Oh,
into like 3 parts for an episode. It's like here you
right.
go, 10 minutes each
I obtained a method of watching it.
on Real Player, and it was like a postage stamp on your screen.
Yeah, it sounds about right, honestly. I mean, this is the same person who like found a imported version of Battle Royale that would work on my DVD player and then like did a screening on my like 13-inch TV
Nice.
to a bunch of people in my high school. So you know, nerd stuff finds a way.
That is true. Yeah, you're not wrong. So yeah, I don't think we really have to go through the entirety of the story of this movie because there's not a whole lot to this story.
There's
Let's be
not a
real.
lot. There's a moth guy.
Mothman, but not really Mothman. His name is Minomaru. He's a
Minamaru.
demon who loves moths, and he's got his two little moth gals with him, or whatever. And essentially, like you said, he's mad because Inuyasha beat his dad, and now he wants to get revenge and unleash his father's powers, which have laid dormant because they were sealed away by Inuyasha's father. And once he's able to do that, basically gets to become his dad, but more powerful, and that's how he's going to take over the world and defeat Inuyasha. That's your story.
Also, there's some weird underlying like anti-China stuff going on here. It's very weird. Like the whole time they're just like, "Oh, from the mainland."
The mainland.
And like acting like really weird about it. I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right."
Uh, they fight a scorpion in the very beginning, and like they're like, "Whoa, this new insect thing called a scorpion," and they beat up a scorpion. Except Kirara gets poisoned and then turns into an evil version of Kirara.
Oh no.
How dare! I feel like this movie is only meaningful, or not meaningful, but like important because this is like the only time we will get to see Moroku use the wind tunnel constantly throughout this film and actually get to use it and
Because
not
there are
have
no
bees.
Naraku bees.
There's no bees anywhere to come and thwart him.
And somehow the scorpions don't mess with him.
Yeah, he's just like,
Like
he's like,
you
cool, whatever.
you would think the scorpions would bother him because they also are poisonous, venomous, poisonous.
Yes. Well, I mean, we've already established that too.
Right. Like Kirara gets messed up,
Mm-hmm.
but he's just like, "Brrr. All right, we're good.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's it.
Consistency. Consistency.
No consistency here. Shippo just
Um,
gets left around a lot.
yeah, poor Shippo gets left a lot. The Shomer just like shows up occasionally for no
Yeah.
reason.
He's literally just here to be like in the movie and that's it. Just have a cameo or two. Like he shows up in the very beginning. It's just like, what's up?
The
And
gals
then
try and fight him, and he's like, "Why?
done.
Why?
Yeah.
You don't need me."
There's just random shots of him, Rin, and Jockin walking around that have no meaning whatsoever.
Jockin does have a flamethrower at one point, though. That's pretty cool.
That's it. And then he shows up and talks to Kikyo at one point, and basically the whole entire thing is, "Hey, I want to kill Inuyasha. Okay, later, bye."
Yeah, it's really, really weird. It's like, why are you even here?
Like
Besides
it,
the fact that they want to put you on the cover.
yeah, 100%. And like even like Kikyo's role in this movie is completely meaningless as well because she
Yep.
just shows up to be like, "Hey, Kagome, go home." And then also, "Oh no, my souls are being stolen from me. Woe is me."
She yells hard enough to throw Kagome into a well at one point, which is
That's it.
somewhat impressive, but also like you could have just used the fact that like Kagome was feeling awful about what happened for her to go back without
Yeah.
having the whole like dumb love triangle come up again.
Oh,
Again?
it was so dumb.
The whole like Inuyasha shows up or Kagome is like, "Oh, you by yourself? You by yourself? Anyone else here?" She's like, "Oh, you're looking for Kikyo, aren't you?" And then like constantly just thinking about them kissing and like, oh my god, you guys are stupid.
Hey, I mean, to be fair, I guess like they really wanted to market this thing as like this is the big storyline we're going for, and like I guess people had to have ate it up because they kept going to it regardless.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I obviously have mentioned like I've watched this series multiple times. Like I would consider myself a fan of Inuyasha, but as I have gotten older, I'm like, yo, this is obnoxious and completely useless, and actually is a hindrance to a story that could have been very, very good.
Yeah,
I think they could have just cut out the whole love triangle nonsense, and the story would have been so much better for it.
yeah,
But you gotta have
drama.
drama, and then you throw in heck, what's that dude's name? Why am I
Throw in heck,
blanking in his name? The Wolf Boy,
Koga.
Koga. Throw him into this whole gross
Yeah, where
mix
is he?
too.
Why didn't he get to show up?
Probably just running somewhere.
So he just shows up and is like, "Hey, it's me, Koga. Anyways, gotta go. Bye."
And then he makes the cover too.
Yeah, basically.
I mean,
Like
like,
Sesshomaru is prominently featured on this cover, as is Kikyo.
yeah,
They are in this movie for like a combined 5 minutes.
Jockin too.
Good lord.
Oh, look, Moroku is actually using the wind tunnel on the cover.
They had to do that because it's the only time he's able to do it.
Nice.
They're like, we gotta really show this off.
He's useful. Let's go. Um, he does also almost get murdered at the beginning because he catches he catches help me names
He catches who?
his wife
Songo.
Sango. Thank you. Why am I blanking on names? This
You've
week
been up
sucks.
very early today, that's why.
Yeah. He catches Sango and she's like, "Yay, they saved me," and he's just feeling the butt and
Which is weird again, because like I don't think they've really dove into that portion of his side or like his side of his character in a good while in like the actual series.
no, they haven't. They've kind of and the fact that he goes up to the two gals is like, "Oh, would you do me the honor of having my babies?" And it's like he hasn't done that in a while to anybody.
It almost feels like they kind of like want to use this as like a starting point for people to get into the series because there's all like there is a like a recap of the series thing thus far in the very beginning of this film
Oh,
to
you're
like
right.
catch you up. So like this, they probably were using this as like, hey, this is a starting off point if you want to get into the series, and then start watching it on television as it's airing.
That makes total sense.
Yeah,
So then you get a general idea of like who these characters kind of are.
Right.
But again, like he's I'm not gonna say he gets over
But he's
that
been
because he
doing
never
better.
gets
But
over
also, you
that.
like
He's been
this
doing
movie was
better.
probably in production around the time like when he was still early on in the series,
at,
like coming
at
into
his
the series as a
peak.
character. So like they're probably just like, let's just use this, whatever, blah 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 blah.
They don't know that his weakness is bees
Yeah,
yet.
Naraku, who's that? Never met him.
Oh man. Yeah, we definitely have this moth boy.
Mm-hmm.
Um Also there's so much Myoga in this.
Yeah.
Where's Myoga on
Where
the
is? Oh, hang on.
cover?
Let's take a look here.
Oh, there he is. I see him. He's next to Kagome's head.
Well, there you go. He made the cover.
I'm proud of him. This is like the most that he's ever in
He's like, yeah,
anything.
Lord Inuyasha, I'm here to help you
I
out.
mean, to be
You
fair, he
also want
does
to run
get
away.
tied to
I'm
Inuyasha
just
at
known
one
for
point,
running away all
so
the time. That's all my character is in this movie. I will tell you a story that I want to run away all the time.
I mean that's his
Yeah,
character generally. But like I said, this time he gets tied to Inuyasha, so he gets more screen time because
that
he
is
can't run away.
true.
um, wow. I'm trying to think of where we even start here. I mean, I guess we
We
have
basically
started
have like we've
technically.
covered a good chunk of this film. I feel like already. That's how it kind of is. Like basically, we get the whole like drama with the Mothman, and he lures Inuyasha into his like realm because he captures Kagome, and then basically tricks Inuyasha into using the Tetsaiga on the thingy that holds all the power that had been
The claw,
laid dormant.
right? Or was it a tooth?
I,
It was something
yeah,
from his dad that was keeping the seal intact,
and
and
he
he
needed to, like
murdered
they
it, and
needed
the
the
seal is
Tetsaiga to
broken
destroy
now.
it in order to release the power essentially, and best basically what he does is like, I'm gonna make you think you killed me, but really I'm just making you break the seal. Ha ha ha, you fool. And now a big tree's gonna grow, and
Ah,
now I'm gonna get into this bubble and suck up all of everyone's souls.
this big
And
purple
and the
bubble
whole
thing
time
in
I'm
a
just like, I
tree.
already saw this as a storyline in Naruto, so like this is nothing new.
Was it with a moth
No,
too?
but there was a huge tree. It sucked up everyone, except like it basically cocooned them to the tree and put them into like a dream world where like it was like your biggest desires would be able to be lived in that dream world essentially. So it'd make you not want to
Mm,
leave. So that's kind of what the idea for
mm,
that was.
I see. Um, Also at one point, Kagome gets like taken over by
Yeah, essentially,
Mothman.
at first she doesn't, but then somehow she does, and she attacks what's her face,
Yee,
Yee
Kaede.
Kaede, and then she shoots Inuyasha, and she thinks she kills him essentially,
Well,
or
first
gravely wounds him.
she clawed him on the bridge first.
And then she's like yelling at herself, like, "No, go away!
Run away
I
from
can't control
me.
myself." And like, I'm just deadpan shooting you.
That and also probably doesn't help the case that like when he first sees her, he's like Kikyo.
Because of course he would.
Yep. Nope.
Big
No.
dumb energy.
Definitely Kagome. But yeah, the she blaps him into a tree and
And then she's like, "Oh, I'm so sad." And then Kikyo runs and is like, "Go away, go home, get out of here."
go on, get.
And then she goes home and she learns that, or she learned earlier that like, oh, if this dude takes over all the souls and everything because of the connection between the different time periods, you're like, oh, your time period is going to become an everlasting winter.
Also, the well will like grow up.
Yeah. And then she goes home and it's winter and her grandpa and brother are praying to the tree.
And
And
then
her
her
mom
mom takes like hours to bring coats.
to bring coats. It's real good. And the whole time she's just like, I'm real sad here. I'm very sad. And everyone's just like, oh, okay. I guess you're sad. Anyways, let me get you a coat. We're going to pray to the well. Or not the well, the tree.
The
Because it's the
tree.
sacred tree.
Yep.
And then she leans against the tree and she hears Inuyasha. And they talk to each other with their tree phone.
This is the affections across time right here, by the
Yes,
way, in
exactly.
case you needed to know.
And then she shoots the well and destroys all the tree roots coming through it and is able to go back.
Yeah, because Inuyasha through the tree phone is like, have you tried an arrow?
Yeah, just shoot it
Have you tried that? And then she does try that, and she
and blows him
blows it
up.
up. And he's like, "Well, you didn't have to do that." And she's like, "You told me to do that."
What are you doing? Um,
And
yeah. Then they go
Shippo's
off to
like,
fight.
"Don't argue." No.
Yeah, this is not the time for arguing. We gotta go. And then they go off to fight the Mothman. Which meanwhile, like Moroku and Sango have been fighting off the underlings the whole time.
Yep.
And eventually they're able to win because Moroku's opponent has the wind tunnel because she took it from him or like copied it essentially.
Yeah, she can copy it.
And then she stabbed her hand. It was like, I'm gonna make a bigger wind tunnel. And then she just sucks herself up. And then Moroku's like, well, that's gonna be my future sometime. So, anyways.
Not gonna think about that any further.
And then Sango has to will Kirara back to her side, and she's able to do so, and chops her opponent in half with her boomerang, which was real cool. It was the best thing in this entire movie.
Hands down, that was the best part of the movie.
It was so good.
It was really good. It was wild because Kirara was like, I'm gonna bang my head against the wall repeatedly.
I don't know if you heard me say this, but I was like, oh, Kirara was pulling a Maxwell.
I did hear that, and you're right.
Concussion time.
But Kirara's spell is broken because Sango cries on her.
Yep. And then she just cuts that
Lady
lady
in
in
half.
half. And the lady's like, oh, I'll be fine. And then her soul gets sucked up. She's like, no. And it's just
Why
both her parts just fall to the ground.
me?
And then Baroku's like, oh, hey, what's up? How's your fight go? Hey, Kirara's back. Sweet.
Not
I think
having any trauma or anything here. I'm fine.
I think at one point he like picks up her boomerang at some point in the movie and he's like, holy crap, this is heavy. What? How did you hold this all the time?
Yeah, he does. It's great.
It's real good.
It's real good.
And then Kagome and Inuyasha basically combine their powers together to defeat the big man because like Kagome's able to like shoot an arrow at this dude and like cuts off one of his wings. She's like, oh, I guess I could just use this as a way to break the defenses. And then they just use their powers together and they defeat the enemy.
Well, Myoga told them to use their powers together.
The one time he's useful.
Yeah. And so she uses the arrow and Inuyasha at the same time backlash waves.
And then that's it. Like this dude gets to be a big enemy for like 5 minutes and then he's dead.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, cool. See you later.
I like that the wiki for this at one point made the same joke that I did. That it says Kagome begins to tell him not to move because he'll open his wounds, but Inuyasha walks over to Kagome, embraces her tightly to him, thus the name affections touching across time.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Ski. Whoa.
Yep. And he's like, I need you. Haven't you realized that yet? And it's like, no, because you're a moron and you don't ever indicate that.
Yeah.
You're too caught up in a dead girl.
And then like she takes him back to the present time and they hang out by the tree and she's like, oh, what did you like about the food I made? Because she made food for them earlier and he apparently only liked cup ramen. She's like, oh, I love these pickled radishes or something. And she's like,
Yep.
you mother.
Sit.
He's like, what did I? But it was good.
Also something that was funny is that her mom not only took hours to bring back coats, but she also at one point when Kagome was getting ready to go back is like, oh, here's your uniform and it's in a package for some reason.
She gives her the school uniform, like, oh, no one's gonna know who you are without this.
It's like, what?
She's been there multiple times with different clothes before.
Yeah, and why is it in a package?
We just didn't want to animate her in a different outfit.
I mean, that's fair. Especially not during a fight.
It's true.
Hilarious.
They do like a bit of like montage in the credits of like, here's what everyone was doing after the film story.
Woo!
So like Sesshomaru and his gang are walking around. Kikyo's recovering. They rebuild the well. Shippo gets a flower from girl we don't know yet. We will know next
Spoilers.
episode.
Yep.
Brutta and Grandpa got sick because they were outside in the snow for like 30 hours.
Waiting for coats.
Yeah. Inuyasha comes to see Kagome working on math, and he's like, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
We see
man.
Hojo.
Yeah.
He's just here.
This
Apparently,
is-
it says he's giving her flowers. I don't think those were flowers. That was like a hockey stick.
Yeah, that looked like a hockey stick. That was not flowers. But
She
Hojo
go-
was there.
Yeah, she goes to McDonald's,
Whack Donald's, please.
and then Shippo hangs out with the gals in the hot springs for some reason.
And Moroku
Oh.
is perving,
Yes.
and then Inuyasha sees Kaede.
Moroku's like, well, I'm going to see some looks here. And he's like, oh, just kidding. It's Kaede. He's like, no.
Inuyasha's betrayed.
But yeah, that's the film. We got some production notes, trivia, some trivia and goofs. If you want to learn about those.
Okay, let's go.
Let's see here. The movie stands far enough in the series that Rin is already with Sesshomaru and Inuyasha masters the backlash wave, so after episode 54, but not far enough for Kikyo to have lost her bitterness over her death, which cut her from the flow of time. Spoilers. Sesshomaru also doesn't have the Tokijin, which I don't know what that is either, despite Inuyasha having mastered the backlash wave, likely never. Oh, that's the other sword he got, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I do know that. It's just been a while.
Been a while.
Been a while. Kagome wears the apron with the Pio symbol, which comes from Rumiko Takahashi's second major work, My Son Ikako, used by protagonist Kyoko Otonashi, but in pink color.
Cool.
It's a good reference.
I just saw Moroku sucks, and I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, Moroku just sucks. Moroku sucks in several scorpions summoned by Hari during the movie, but doesn't suffer the effects of poison even from the massive demonic scorpion from the beginning of the film. Yeah, he's like that big scorpion as well, and he's like, no, I'm fine, whatever.
Thank you, trivia, for pointing
True.
out the thing that I was worried about.
It's true. The sick commands are shown to bury Inuyasha further in the ground, depending on how intense Kagome's emotions are.
Makes sense.
The Hirai Kotsu, which is the boomerang, is shown to be much heavier than Sango makes it look, as Moroku lost his balance trying to pick it up.
There you go. That was the part you were mentioning.
Yes. The sacred tree is shown to be able to allow telepathic contact between eras. The phone.
Apparently.
And then Satsuki made a cameo in the credits, which I'm guessing is the lady that Shippo was giving flowers to.
Correct.
Who we will meet next episode.
Correct.
Goofs. There are two scenes where the ribbon on Kagome's uniform has the design we see in Inuyasha the final act. The first one is after Inuyasha uses her handkerchief as a bandage. The ribbon can be seen in the middle and also at the sides. The other scene is where they are fighting Minamaru in his father's grave, which there's also a shot in which we see the lines on the sides, but the ribbon was left uncolored. Oops.
Is the ribbon design different in
I guess so. Maybe because like she gets a different ribbon because she's like an older or something. I don't know. Don't ask me, guys. This is me theorizing. So, and then when Kagome attacks Inuyasha at the bridge and it collapses, as Inuyasha falls, his necklace colors are inverted. The beads are white and the Magatama are purple.
Oops.
They done goofed. But yeah, that is it. That's this movie. In a nutshell. What are we talking about next time? Because I forgot. We talked about this last time we talked about Inuyasha, but because we did a preview. But yes, next time we will be discussing season 3, episode 1 or episode 55, entitled "The Stoneflower and Shippo's First Love," which we're gonna meet this Satsuki character.
Yep.
So that's what we will be doing next time, and then I don't remember anything about the preview for this episode because it's been a while, and we'll just learn about it regardless. So maybe we'll get a bit of a recap, hopefully, when we start this episode.
Hopefully.
So yeah, that's what we'll be doing next time. But for now, if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
So join us next time as Shippo gets something to do besides getting left behind.
Yay!